Hello guys, so this is the gumming of our collar. So you're using the gum part. The straight part is what you're placing, and then you're going to iron on it. Please make sure that your iron is very hot, to gum down the collar stay on the fabric. So like I had said earlier, is the gum side you're putting on this, and then the straight part is staying down. So that's what you're gumming down. Okay, for all those that have subscribed to my channel, I want to say thank you, and for those that haven't, please do subscribe. Okay, so let's move on. So after this, you're going to fold it over just the way I'm doing it now. That little part is what you're leaving there, just like 1/4 of an inch, and iron it down because you're going to be sewing. So you're going to be stitching around it anyway when we are done. So now we are going to be ironing on the collar riser. Same thing, the gum part on the fabric, on the wrong side of your fabric, and the straight part on the down part. So just leave like 1 inch down and iron on. Like I said, make sure that your iron is hot. So fold over the 1 inch, fold it over like this, and then iron on it. Please make sure that the folding is at the tip of that collar stay, and then you're going to keep it aside when you're done. Okay, so cut. First of all, cut just like I'm doing. Leave 1/4 of an inch. Just 1/4 of an inch is fine. That's it, 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Now I'm going to be ironing the sleeve first, so that you see how to do that. So first of all, I've taken up my yoke. So I'm folding over. So for the yoke, just fold over at 1/2 of an inch and iron it. That's all. Then we move on to the sleeve. So this sleeve now, the 1.5 inch that you kept, or whatever you kept, fold over at 1/2 and then fold over at the 1 inch. That's basically what you're doing here. So I prefer to iron most times so that it's easier when you're sewing down. So just iron down your 1/2 first, like I said, and then fold over at 1 inch. So that's that your 1.5 that you kept, or if you kept 2 inches, just do exactly what I'm doing now and fold over and iron on it, and that's it. Okay, so once you're done, just make sure you straighten out any wrinkle. Then you're going to keep this aside. Now you're folding of the flap. All right, so if you're having a sticker on your fabric, just iron on it and peel it out. I prefer to iron at the top, then peel it out. Then straighten your fabric. Then we're going to take the button part first. That's what we're going to be working on now. So this is the part of the button. That's the part of the buttonhole. So we're taking the button part first. Remember, you have a line, that line that we marked, the midpoint, like the center front. And then we marked 1 inch after the center front. Fold at that 1 inch after the center front. That is 1 inch that we kept. That's going to be your button stand now. Remember, from your center front there was 1 inch. Iron on that 1 inch, not the center front, on the 1 inch. So you're now going to, from that 1 inch, fold in again and iron, just exactly as I'm doing now. It's as easy as that. So iron a bit and then fold it back. Just create your 1 inch for your button stand. That's basically what I am doing. So iron it properly. So once you're done ironing this, straighten it out. That's all. We're going to be sewing at 1 inch. At that center front part is what we'll be stitching down. Now we're going to pick the same thing is what we're going to do to this part of the your buttonholes. Okay, so iron on as well, and then fold in just like I'm folding now, and then iron it properly, creating your 1 inch buttonhole allowance. Okay, that's just what you're doing. So fold a bit in here and then fold over again to the other iron point. Fold over and then you're going to now fold it there 1 inch and then fold it back to where it is meant to be when you're done with that. And please don't forget to iron properly. Okay, we're going to be sewing on both sides here, so we'll sew here and then we'll sew here as well. So that's it, we're sewing on two sides at this point. Unlike the other one, for the button itself we're sewing on just one part, and then this we are sewing on the two parts. So that's been our ironing session. So now this is the collar you're stitching round. So just stitch as I'm stitching now. Start, go round the collar at the edge, please. Sew right at the edge, so when you turn it out, it will give you a very good finish. So you turn and back stitch when you're done. So trim it off as close as you can, not too close but as close as, and then we are going to turn it to the other side. Okay, so we'll turn it out. So when we are done turning, just make sure you arrange it properly. We are going to take it and iron it, iron it properly down, iron it. So once you're done ironing, as seen, look at, looking very cute, I've ironed. Then we're going to trim off at the edge, at this edge. So for me, you can trim both together, but for me I like taking it one after the other. So I trim the first part out, then I'll use it as a guide to trim this part now out. So once we are done with this, before we finish up this, we'll pick up our collar riser. See how lovely this is looking already. All right, so that's how your collar is going to look. So let's deal with the collar riser now. So for the collar riser, remember this part that we turned, that 1 inch I said you should keep, stitch on it. So we're going to stitch, just stitch straight on it at a 1/4 of an inch, please. You can do half, but basically I do a 1/4 of an inch. Then the excess, you're going to trim it off. So trim off the excess, and that is it. We are going to take another piece of fabric, but before then let's stitch on the collar. So you stitch it round, just like a design stitch, right? So just stitch it maybe at a 1/4 of an inch, or half, whatever you feel is convenient for you. Just stitch round. So we're done with that. Look at how lovely, look at the stitches, very neat. I hope you can see that. So now we're going to go back to complete the collar riser. We're going to be joining this collar riser now to the main collar now, but we need another piece of fabric. So I'm just trimming off a bit of the excess. Now put it together like this, mark the midpoint, pick up the collar, mark the center point as well. Now we're going to pick up another fabric, a very long fabric. Place it just the way I'm doing now. The collar in the middle, then the collar riser using the center point, please. This center point is very, match it at the center point. Then we're going to start at that point to sew. We're starting at one center point to sew to the left, and then we'll turn again from that same center point and sew to the other side. So just do exactly what I'm doing. So take it gently, sew it round at the curved part. That's where you're going to end. Remember, we have a curved part at that collar riser. That's exactly what you're going to be doing now. So when you're done, excuse me, start again at this other middle part and sew it the same way. So back stitch, then we're going to trim off just the way I'm going to trim it now. Take off your threads is very important, so trim it. And once you're done trimming, you're going to turn it to the right side. So when you turn to the right side, try to iron it. It's, so it really stays nicely. Then you're going to cut out half of an inch at that part. See, I've ironed it, so now I'm cutting out. So half, you can cut out a 1/4, but half is just fine because you're going to use the half to join to the shirt itself. So this is how you prepare your collar and your collar riser. So this is how it's going to be looking. Now you can actually use it on anything. It could be a shirt, it could be a dress that you're making. You can use it as a design. It's just your creativity, you know. So make yours and let's see. It's been nice having you in this class.